Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mario here, and I'm from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Let's Play of NES remakes for the Nintendo Wii U eShop. So last time we actually did manage to play through, specifically the first ever stage in Remakes 1 selection of stages, in addition to actually just manage to beat the likes of, Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr., just managed to complete those two games. In addition to actually getting ourselves these, not only for the sake of like 3 stars, but also for the sake of, these rainbow stars in here and there too. As you can see, that, every now and then, those little, rainbow outlines is now showing up once you're able to actually collect all of these, rainbow stars in each stage. So, I thought it's worth mentioning for that anyway, in case if you might have missed that in the last video. So today for this episode, folks, is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next game in the lineup, which is Mario Bros. And Excitebike. So, before we jump into this actually, as you can tell in the bottom right corner, now, originally in the last video that I wasn't going to be able to activate the Miiverse features on, because, you know, the Miiverse service is now expired. But now I decided to add that in just for the sake of, like, you know, just popping out of the main menu and stuff like that. So even then, that, again, we can't able to use the Miiverse, I'm afraid, probably due to how the fact, you know, the service is now shut down. I think the reason why that the Miiverse has been shut down completely, I think it's probably because, I'll probably get into more details as soon as we are able to actually just go through those, games I'm gonna be concentrating on. So I apologize for that little, dialogue mistake and all that stuff, but, yeah. And also around that time, I managed to collect myself some Balancier stamps, like not only for this Paratrooper right there, but also Toad and Princess Toadstool, or better known for Princess Peach every now and then. So, but even then though, that's only for the starters though anyway, so. But even then though, I'm going to tell you something a little bit more differently this time around though, is that I'm probably not going to be going for all these rainbow stars at the very end of each episode, because what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to be going for the Rainbow Star run-throughs on the separate video during the future time and onwards. So I thought to myself I might as well do that. So, just in case if the actual episodes won't take nearly as long as they used to be. So, anywho, so that will do. Let's get started right here. We're gonna be jumping through Mario Bros. As you can see. Now this game was originally came out in 1983, also around in the arcade machines back in the day, where not only did I get myself my own game, unlike Donkey Kong, but also for the likes of Luigi's first appearance in this game. In fact, Luigi might actually become 35 years at this point in 2018, so speculation for, you know, Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch, or possibly Super Luigi Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch possibility, but again, we don't know exactly for sure just yet. So, the goal in this particular Mario Bros. Game is very simple. Basically, we need to, every time we need to get to this next set of few stages or next phrases, you're gonna have to knock out all of these enemies in during time, because if you manage to defeat them all, as you can see, then you move on to the next stage. So that's how the simple premise of the actual gameplay of Mario Bros. Actually works. So, the first time I've ever experienced in this game was actually not from the NES version actually. My first experience on Mario Bros. Was actually forms of whenever I play myself Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, in the Game Boy Advance version of Mario Bros. Because every now and then, every single Super Mario Advance games always attempt to have Mario Bros. Classic on there, but even then, with updated graphics, and especially noticeable with much more better physics than the likes of this version does to me though, but even then, I'll get into more details onto this little description for it later. But from now on, you can also manage to grab those coins whenever you wanted to, but the main reason being for that is because of, for the sake of like points accounts you're going to be able to access to. But even then though, that I don't know exactly how much levels there are in the entirety of Mario Bros. Because I haven't really touched upon Mario Bros. For quite a long time for the Game Boy Advance, so. And yeah, they're literally everywhere on the Game Boy Advance versions of some of these Mario games. Like, I've already mentioned it before, Super Mario Advance selection of games like Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World, and Super Mario Advance 3, Yoshi's Island, and finally Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, like I mentioned this earlier ago. And also managed to include Mario Bros. Classic and the likes of obviously Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga on the Game Boy Advance version, by the way, so that makes it a little bit more, more accurately, a definitive way of playing through Mario Bros., at least specifically for the Game Boy Advance. So, the only way you can't play multiplayer in Mario Bros. On the Game Boy Advance is the forms of the Game Boy Advance cable link, which, that's pretty obvious to see how the multiplayer functions will work out to be. So far I haven't got any Rainbow Star Rings yet, but again, I will get into that topic when we get to the almost nearly to the very end. So anyway, so stage 4, defeat the ice enemy. These ices right there, they sort of makes them a comeback ever since Super Smash Bros. Melee, and especially Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And even, I don't know if it on Smash 4, because even then though in Smash 4, did have some of these items as being gone, like these flippers and all that stuff. But even then though, that's all I can tell for these parts, so anywho. Now, for those little turtle-based enemies, as you can see on screen, although granted right now we're on the different screen right now because of this little enemies is now changed. But these little crab-based enemies like this, they normally call them sidesteppers, and these Koopas are originally known as, in this game here, is the forms of shell creepers. And finally, these fly type enemies, which are forms of fly trappers. So that makes it pretty obvious to see how there are some slightly different names in the alternative universe, if you can say so for this much. And oh wow, that was really close. I almost got hit by an enemy for about a couple of seconds throughout. So anyways, let's go ahead and just get rid of this last freezy, and boom, there we go. I really don't think I can get the Rainbow Star on that. Oh, sorry, I just did. By about one, I'm guessing it's more accurately to get the Rainbow Star on this run through. It's the fact they need to be able to actually beat under 17 seconds. So I'm also able to actually dominate it by 1 split second to react to in time. So yeah, Mario Bros. Only has 10 stages, unlike 7 stages in both Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. So if that's the case, that some of these stages, especially the mission tasks and what have you, can get a little bit more longer. So I thought it's worth mentioning for these parts. So anyway, oh goodness, he does have the really biggest leap, and that was kind of a stupid mistake. Hopefully I'll try this again. So yeah, not much else to tell for this point, folks, because today was actually forms of the 10th of January so far. But even then, not much else news-relatable stuff when it comes to Nintendo stuff and related to anything like that. I was really hoping that tomorrow, that Nintendo Direct will be announced tomorrow, but if not, then I'll have to wait for a long amount of time, for the sake of like, well, I've heard from some Twitter messages that they're saying they're going to be bringing up Nintendo Direct coming soon. So even then, though, that I'm not sure if that's going to be the specific stuff on my ad, but still, it can be a little bit too random for my liking. I'm gonna have to say that much until now. So, oh fine, I'll kill myself on the likes of this little green fire bars. Or the fireballs, I should say. So yeah, back to what I was saying about Mario Bros. As you can see here, the momentum, especially the physics in the NES version, kind of feels a bit more archaic from the looks of it standpoints, though. Anyway, but even then, that thankfully the Game Boy Advance version did manage to fix that physics issues. But even then, that's most likely because I was so used to with that version instead of like the NES original. So more accurately, the arcade version here and there too. And I believe Mario Bros. Also has the inspiring stage. Much like in 75M from the likes of Donkey Kong, is that Mario Bros. Stage did actually get their tribute debuted as a fighting stage in the forms of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. But unfortunately though, it does not make a return in Smash 4 due to how really unfair that stage felt, as far as I've heard from interviews. Granted, that's only because of how the fact that the shell creepers and sidesteppers and fly traps, or in this case, fly fighters. I don't know exactly what these flying types' name was, but even then, though, that these enemies are really overpowered. Although, as far as I've noticed, is that both sidesteppers and especially shell creepers are the only enemies in Super Smash Bros. Brawl when it comes to able to deal with Mario Bros. Stage. So there's no fly traps or anything like that. So But even then though, as far as I've noticed, these enemies are way overpowered in Super Smash Bros. Brawl because due to how the fact that they can be, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I really love this challenge actually. Make poor Luigi lose a life, which even then, that's something is more likely a referencing for, the 30th anniversary of Luigi that time. But even then though, that was before when, oh goodness gracious, jumping on its head. Haha. Well, you cannot outrun from me for that point though, Luigi. Gonna have to say that much until at this point. And kill myself in the process. But anywho though, yeah, I apologize for the background noise you're gonna be hearing because one of my dogs always kept on barking whenever when there's like something else has been happening today. But even then, that's what I can just try to able to discuss upon for myself included. So, oh my god, I almost barely touched for that green fireball. That almost gets some potentials there, so anyways, the hardest part about this challenge for me though, it was actually the third segment because you need to be right on with that exactly the right jump until you're able to let Luigi just to get onto the other side and just getting touched by the shell creepers already from the start. But unfortunately, due to how the fact that how the world Luigi just managed to bump into my head or bonk into my head. Jesus Christ, Luigi, what were you thinking? No, you deserve it. You deserve to death. Anywho, though, as far as you noticed right from the get-go, ever since the last video, is that the ×2 was originated from, I'm assuming Excitebike, but not anymore at this point, because every time when you actually turn off the main game of NES Remix and turn it back on again until the next day and onwards, the ×2 tag can now actually go into a different game, which even then though, that you can definitely see why for this system until when we get to the latest parts of the game, especially with NES Remix in general. They also did the exact same thing for NES Remix 2, which again Sonic is about to get into that, when it's like the first half or the second half of 2017. Well, oh no, 2018 I should say, because 2017, I kept on thinking of that year because of due to it's been a while since when we're trying to record some things throughout. So I have no idea why I've done that because it's a little bit of a bad mistake. So we'll try that again. Well, nothing matters too much because they actually includes health bars. So health bars can actually just sometimes lead me back into the way I came from, especially when the time is not carrying it over. Oh, that was really bad too. So I'll just kill myself. Oh well, no matter. There we go. That way it deals the trick. And now we have to deal with, you know, just these enemies included. And boom, there we go. Did I literally get the rainbow stars on that particular challenge? I'm pretty much guaranteed I get ourselves an... Oh, okay then. Thank you. Even though it's quite literally the shortest challenge in Mario Brothers actually, because the more timing aspect you're going to be dealing with, then the better you proved upon. So anyway... And I've got a stamp from based off from Mario Brothers. I believe it's actually based off half-naked Shell Creeper. So that's why I just essentially try to say that for this little imagery detail. But anyways, defeat the green fireball. Now this might be a little bit tricky as far as I might add, but what I've noticed right off from the start, that I need to stand right there, stand completely still, and then hopefully I might as well go for a bit trying to able to jump at the right time. So I defeat the green fireball instantly. So, yeah, that's how this challenge works. And same applies to the red fireball as well. So, you know, I apologize for the fact that my throat has actually gone a little bit funny recently because... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's because of how the fact that, you know, commentary usually works out. So even that it's too hard to speak a lot during a couple of times or so. So anyway... Okay, so that's it for that challenge, and let's see what rankings I can get. Rainbow Stars, of course. And I believe in order to get the Rainbow Star rankings is that you need to beat this challenge for under 13 seconds or so. I'm not exactly sure. And here's a stamp based off from The Legend of Zelda, which is Link. Which, spoiler alert, we'll get to that, The Legend of Zelda during a later time. In fact, this might be the first time we've ever going to be experiencing The Legend of Zelda game in our YouTube channel, actually, because even then, I did almost play every single Zelda games in my own time, but I haven't really done any of these Zelda games for during the sake of the Let's Play on just yet. But even then, yeah. Okay, so last challenge in Mario Bros. Especially noticeable how the fact that we're gonna be collecting those coins. Yeah, which even then sometimes coins can be a little bit out of place with those specific positions. Come on! Oh, nice. Nicely done. Even especially noticeable, it's like almost compatible for likely... I don't much recall for this throughout, so anyway. I'm afraid I don't think I can get myself some rainbow stars on this one because due to, literally wasting my time on the third section. So, oh well. But at least I'll do that and during the likes of, the individual, extra videos of stuff for NES Remakes series. That, I decided to go for the Rainbow Stars run through in a, individual video for actually going for all these challenges again. But then improvements, because even then I don't want to waste my, recording time, so I just want to mention this right about now. So that concludes Mario Brothers, and now we're moving on to Excitebike. Excitebike, I don't have any much more experience in this game, to be honest, because normally I just play through Mario and Sonic stuff, obviously, but even then. That, what makes it, stands out for me for this game is the fact that thanks to, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, did manage to introduce into the instant trophies, or assist trophies, to actually, now it contains, the Excitebike players, so even then though that, it can actually just manage to hurt you out for moments there, so yeah, that's what I can really say about the Excitebike. I believe this game did first came out on specifically for the NES, because I don't think, this game actually released on the arcade machines anywhere, so even then I just want to clarify for that such. And obviously this game came out in 1984, as far as I've noticed that from the start, so even then there's not much else I can tell for the detail. What you're doing in Excitebike is very simple. We need to basically, it's like a racing game syndrome. Like basically, every time when you're able to actually just drive through the course, you're gonna have to sometimes dodge through things. Like for instance, as you see that right there, manage to dodge through mud. Especially noticeable where we're gonna come towards these obstacles, as you can see here. Like you can simply either just avoid them, or there's actually a trick to this, which we'll get to that in a second. And you can actually compete against with those rivalry bikes. Or the rival bikers, as what it says on the title. So yeah, using the operation with this actual directional pad functionality is very simple. Is that, well, obviously, press up or down to change what track parts you want to be drove into. So what I've heard is that Excitebike is actually really good. Even especially they got themselves a WiiWare counterpart of Excitebike, but I'm afraid though, that's what the Wii Shop channel is about to be closing until, well, it's not going to be accessible anytime soon when it gets to 2 months time for adding those, Wii Shop points and all that stuff, which, I don't know about you, but even then, no, I wasn't really terribly fond of the entirety of the Excitebike series, to be honest, because, well, I still enjoyed them, don't get me wrong, but even then, I've heard it's such a cool classic game, but anyway. And this is where the part we're going to be able to deal with the wheelies, which that was before when Mario Kart Wii exists, whenever you're trying to perform their wheelie segments. So that's pretty cool stuff, and that was pretty bad. So we'll try that again. Hopefully I've got myself 2 attempts left until I'm able to get myself a game over. Now, if you ever think if you're getting game over on these particular challenges, your star ranking counts will actually go limited by itself, because even then, if you manage to go for those challenges without even getting a game over, you're essentially going to get yourselves 3 stars, but if you use one of your continues, it doesn't grant you with a 3rd and final star. So it's one of pointing out from the start. And using A is to accelerate, obviously, and then hold down the B button will allow you to able to actually use the turbo boost, which even then, that could be useful for some situations, especially noticeable how the fact that if you want to compete against with someone and during time trials and etc., you can probably do that, especially noticeable how the fact that, you know, that was before when online exists in other consoles that naturally. So, anyways, and speaking of the Excitebike, we got ourselves the exact stamp based off on the Excitebike, so that's pretty nice. Alright, so use the directional pads left or right to land the bike level, so I'm pretty sure I can get this though. There we go. That's that done. And we got to do the exact same thing about twice in a row, as far as I might noticed. There we... What? How does that count? Or even then, to make matters even much more than, that, I don't know why that doesn't count for my, bouncy, bike from the back. But even then, I'm guessing probably because I need to be straight on. In this case, that straight angle, I should say. So, there we go. That's that done. And let's see what results I can get. I'm probably not gonna get the rainbow stars in this one because of due to, well, I don't really think I actually used my turbo boost that much. But even then, I think that's the only considerable, method I haven't done throughout. So, stage 4. Use the turbo boost while simply pressing the B button and speed things onwards. So, but don't hold it for too long because obviously that, it will overheat every time you do that. And the only way you can actually refuel yourself with this little, you know, the turbo boost ability, that you have to go bypass those little dash pads as you can see here, all these little arrows onto this little path syndrome or the track layout, so that way you can able to actually refill your turbo boost. So yeah, that's what I can try to able to discuss upon this. Alright, so we got ourselves the next stage, stage 5. So let's see how this stage actually contains. Complete a lap of track 1. Okay, very standard stuff. I think this is more accurately just based off from time trials, basically. As far as I might as well notice that from the start. But anyway, one thing I haven't mentioned about this, I've already mentioned about the fact that this game, or in this case, NES Remix 1, especially noticeable in NES Remix 2, did get themselves a reproductioning versions of those two games all in one disc, only for the North America and Japan only. They've got themselves a physical release of NES Remix 1 and 2, known as NES Remix Pack, which, you know, it contains NES Remix 1 and 2, all in one disc. So even then, pretty unique system. And even then though, the 3DS also got their tradition for that particular... Oh yeah, that's actually based off from the enemy from The Legend of Zelda, for that stamp, by the way. Before we get to this, actually, here we go with challenge number 6. So let's see how this challenge will actually hold. Knock over a rival with your back wheel. Okay. So basically, we need to actually able to knock these opponents out, while simply just able to use your back wheel. And then in the second part, we need to knock over 5 rival bikers. So the only ones you do need to knock out though is the purple ones, because the blue ones did like stand up for a little bit, but I'm pretty much guaranteed the blue ones won't count for me though. I might as well have to double check as soon as I'm able to actually just test it now. Okay, so it's the blue ones does not count, so only the purple ones can only count. So I get a feeling I'm probably not gonna get the rainbow stars on this run through just because I just did not know I was expecting it to. But anyway, anywho. Yeah, the 3DS also got an edition of NES Remakes known as Ultimate NES Remakes, which contains the first half of NES Remakes 1 and the second half of, well, NES Remakes 2 when it comes to game selection. But even then, I'm probably not going to go for the 3DS version, I'm afraid, guys, because it's more accurately the exact same game as opposed to the individual NES Remakes 1 and 2, but except the lack of 3D imagery. And especially noticeable how the fact that it's on the 3DS to begin with. So, but even then, some of these challenges are pretty much exactly the same. So, the only some exclusive features I might as well add. God damn it! That the exclusive feature on the 3DS version is that you can actually manage to able to go for the entirety of the Ultimate NES Remix again, but this time calls it Famicom Remix Ultimate. Or in this case, just Famicom NES Remakes or something like that. But even then though, that you can only unlock that particular mode once you're able to go through some of the stars throughout the game. So even then, I believe 762 stars in total. At least in the 3DS version, that is. So, yeah, they get the idea at this point. Oh, I always hate these challenges, especially, it's almost like very similar to how it does it in, not only Sonic and the Secret Rings, but also Sonic and the Black Knight. Whenever you're trying to deal with the, the likes of trying to deal with these specific tasks without even making any sort of mistakes. I always hate challenges like this, especially in this these particular challenges. That if you get crashed, you count as mission failed. So yeah, I just want to point things out. Okay, so looks like we got 3 more stages left on Excitebike. So beats the 3rd best time. So oh boy, I'll remember this challenge. It's the fact that we need to actually just let these computer opponents get in my way sometimes, because even then though sometimes that happened, which that will temporarily slow me down. I was hoping if this will be 2 laps instead of 3 laps, because if it's 3 laps, I'm going to be simply able to actually just, you know, get pretty much ticked off. But I was really hoping it might be 2 laps instead of 3, which if I've heard, it does retain 2 laps, so that might be a good thing. So, of course, I only have 1 chance to do this, because you only have like 1 heart piece to deal with this challenge. So, and another mode that usually contains only in the 3DS version, which is in forms of Speed Mario Brothers, because usually as far as the Speed Mario Bros. Suggests as far as in that mode, basically it's the exact same game as the original Super Mario Bros., except everything else is way too fast. And even then though, speaking of such, is that NES Remix 2 actually got themselves the exclusive mode, which again, Sonic will get to that during the likes of the first, no, not the first, the second half of 2018, so that's worth mentioning for this throughout. And as far as I've noticed, NES Remix, the first one, is almost about 5 years old at this point, which even then, that again, because due to it's been released for 5 years, ever since 2013, and then 2014 in NES Remix 2, specifically for the Wii U version of NES Remix 2, and Ultimate NES Remix on the 3DS, so yeah, I've no idea why I have to restart for this particular point, because I get a feeling, if I don't make it in time, then I'm gonna simply able to fail this mission at an almost instant, so we'll try that again, I suppose. And even then, know that sometimes it gets a bit too chaotic for my liking, because due to computer opponents will get in your way, especially noticeable when this happens, and especially noticeable with some stimulating parts where you're able to actually just you know, trying to deal with these little kinds of stuff where it's one of those emphases that you have to deal with random patterns between, you know, during the old school games sometimes, especially compared to, as you can tell, barrels and these little crocodile-based enemies, and especially noticeable with these little computer opponents, or especially these rifle bikers, in fact, and even especially noticeable with these, well, it's not so much for these little creatures, especially with the enemies in Mario Brothers, because there's so much more strategy to going on with, but even then, in the Excitebike, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of, like, just a little bit of a guessing syndrome whenever these rifle bikes will actually just try and distract you at one point, so, oh, I was hoping I can almost nearly towards the end though. In fact, the finishing line is just right there. Alright, not bad. Unfortunately, I don't get myself the rainbow stars on that particular stage. Unfortunately, this is probably due to keep on getting knocked over by these opponents a lot. Even especially noticeable that they're always so close to me at the same time too. But anyway, 2 more stages left. Oh boy, stage 9. How do I get the feeling with this? Yep, complete the lap with of track number 1 without even crashing at all. God damn it. Oh, I hate these challenges like this. Luckily though, the last stage in Excitebike, when it comes to challenges anyway, thankfully it wasn't nearly as hard as compared to this though, but even then, yeah. Eventually, whenever I just say, among the same lines as the Rainbow Stars, I would be about to be doing during the likes of the extra videos coming up, and during the likes of, at some point in June or something like that, or some during time. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. They're always right there in front of me, which even then, that's the only problem I have with the game though, is that sometimes you can't really tell what's up ahead, because you always have, because the screen itself is always constantly scrolling for right. So, yeah, that's the only downside though, I have to admit though right away. Okay, so, Hopefully I might as well get myself my concentration going. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, that's pretty good so far. Hopefully I won't get any sort of mistakes on these parts like this. Oh, okay, there we go. That should be... No! Dang it! God dang it, you! I always hate you, Blue Biker. I was trying to get you for that. Let's just hoping if I don't pipe, if I was hoping I won't speak into this point because if I manage to able to bypass that part, well, I've accidentally just failed upon. So let's just hoping if shoot. Hey, that takes a bit of a while to actually get into action there, especially noticeable like there's gonna be a lot of emphasis on resetting everything and during the likes of the challenges themselves, which even then. Sometimes it can either help you at points, but at the same time, well, it doesn't really help me as much, because even then, that you're gonna have to be right on when it comes to able to actually just turn yourselves into a different part of the actual track. And there's also another thing is worth mentioning though, that the reason why I'm quite familiar with the Excitebike, because thanks to Mario Kart 8, especially Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, both those versions of Mario Kart 8 actually retains... Oh, here's the first Legend of Zelda game. Oh, this will be the first time we've ever going to be experienced a Zelda game footage on our YouTube channel. So, I will be pretty excited if I manage to do this games here. But this game only has like 17 stages, and I believe in Super Mario Bros. Only has like, well, again, 23 stages, which can take a long time. Alright, so the last challenge in the Excitebike is definitely the beat the best time. So even then though, again, it's only 2 laps, luckily though. So even then though, you don't have to worry about these little 3 laps nonsensical. So, but even then though, you got plenty of time to able to actually just accomplishing that. So, yeah, that's right. There's nothing else I can just, you know, try to discuss at this point, folks, because, you know, that's what I can say about this. So, and besides the fact that, anyway, yeah, for the Excitebike Arena, that track from Mario Kart 8, not only for the Wii U, but for the Nintendo Switch as well, that, both of those versions did have the Excitebike Arena track, which is originated from, I'm assuming the Egg Cup, which I'm presuming I might be correct, which even then, I think I must have guessed that I was correct all this time. But even then, that's what I can say about the Excitebike. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool game, but even then, it does have some... Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Why is my turbo boost is overheating all the time? Hopefully I can beat this at this far. There we go. Challenge ended. And the timer stops, as you can see, whenever if it cuts into the next screen. So, there we go. That concludes Excitebike. So even then, that it looks like so far that we're almost at the halfway point of NES remakes, as you can tell right there. And we got 105 stars in total. So yeah, let's see what stamp we got for the last bit. I believe this is actually based off from Wrecking Crew. I'm pretty sure that's what it's at. So, I'm gonna have to end things off here, folks. So tune us next time, or tune me next time, on Let's Play NES Remakes. It's the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next selection of games on NES Remakes, when it comes to challenges anyway, which are Balloon Fight and the one and only Super Mario Bros., which that me and Luigi did already done that in the forms of Super Mario All-Stars version of the game. So yeah, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.